Ready to go? Okay, I called the meeting to order. For the Roadway, Equestrian Trails and Greenway Advisory Committee meeting, February 27th, 2025 at 5 p.m.
I second.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Committee Chair Frank Shiola,
Here.
Committee Member Darcy Dean Murray,
Present.
Committee Member Katie Lakeman is absent, Committee Member Ashley Bruce, and seat 2 is vacant. Town Manager Ramalia is not here at the moment. Town Clerk Assistant Sammy Brown is present. Committee Staff Liaison Richard is not present, but he is on his way. And Project Coordinator Jeff Kurtz.
I'm still here.
Okay,
All right.
so we have a quorum.
Yes, we do, Mr. Chair.
Approval of the agenda from our last meeting. Everybody had a chance to take a look at it and see if they needed any changes, deletions, or substitutions to it.
Mr. Chair, this is the approval of this agenda.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, approval of this agenda. If I can get a motion at any time to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Or a motion is second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the, now we're at approval of the minutes from the 1/28/2025 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 1. I'm sorry, agenda item number 2. Oh,
And Mr. Chair,
public comments.
just for the record, there are no public comments.
Great. Okay, moving on to number 2, regular agenda. Discussion regarding recommendation for mural mosaic proposed project adoption.
This,
What I would suggest, this was a recommendation or for discussion by your vice chair.
Yeah.
So my thought is we turn it over to the vice chair to
Absolutely.
explain the thought process behind this and how we can potentially make it a reality.
Okay, I happened across this cruising, I don't even know what, but I thought it would be a good way to bring the community together. I thought that even more so, we could maybe do it as a fundraiser for whatever funds we can drum up for whatever we designate it for. The only question I have for the council is size and location of where we would like to put it. My suggestion is to put it in a publicly frequented place such as here or at the entrance to our town, whether it be on Okeechobee or Southern. And then we have to come up with a design. So basically what this is, it's a mural based on whatever design we want, but each square, 1 by 1 square, is a different picture. So a person would pay for their square of whatever picture they want to paint it, and then they all get put together to make a huge mural. And you can see, like, for example, there's a horse one there, and you see each little square, 1 by 1 square, is an individual picture of something else. It was just a thought process that I thought it would be a good way to bring the community together and show the uniqueness of our town in a display.
Would we reach out to local artists and see if somebody could come up with a?
Well, this company actually does it.
Oh,
They do, you
they
tell
do
them,
it
yeah,
for
they
you?
have templates already made.
Okay.
I haven't reached out that far because I wanted to make sure before I spend all my, spinning my wheels of getting who, what's and where's. I want to make sure this is something that they were going to approve first before I delved further into it.
I just had some questions. So, do you know the price per tile?
I do not, it depends, I think it depends on the size of the mural.
And you're thinking that people would come to, maybe there's an event or just an open area for them to come and paint their tile here, or would it be at home?
We could do either. I mean, we could make it a whole, excuse me, we can make it a whole event and maybe have it, table set up outside or inside or in the park. There's picnic tables there. I mean, I guess it would depend on how many people show interest.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, you could DIY it at home and then bring it, that's some of the logistics we'd have to work out, but if we
How-
could make it a whole event, it would be kind of neat.
I mean, how would they display it? It looks like it's up to to the organization, right?
My understanding is you tell them the size you want, the picture you want, they prepare the tiles, they send you the tiles. You get them painted, and I don't know if they come and install them on site or if they, glue it all together, if you have to ship them. Like I said, I haven't really gotten to the logistics of it. I just was something that I mentioned to, I sent an email and everyone's like, oh, great, let's do it. We're putting on the agenda. I'm like, okay. So I wanted to see where it went here before I,
Yeah, moving forward.
yeah.
Now, I know that you said that the company is the one that creates this, but do you give them like a template or a picture? Because
Well, if you go on their website, they ask you what size you want, and then you pick a picture, or you tell them what you want on the picture, and they design it themselves.
right, that's what I was wondering, whether or not the first step might be, if we have local artists or somebody to come up with the idea of what it would be, then we give them, because I would assume that for something like this, we would want something with a local flavor and design, because I think these are all really cool, but I'm not sure that.
And we don't have to go with this company. I mean, this is just something that I come across. If we can find absolutely local artists to even draw one big picture, and then we can figure out smaller ones to come up with that. I don't know if you were able to look at the website, but they have one that's a big tree. They don't have it, they didn't print it here. It's a big tree that has like horses and water, and, you could add a turtle to it, everything that represents our town. I mean, even use our logo,
As a part of it.
as a part of it. Yeah, that could be one tile,
Right.
I,
You are,
I like the idea. I think it's fun. I guess you'd have to have like a wall or something, and pretty much right now, we have walls up here but my thing is that if the town council doesn't want to allocate, where they want it to go and allocate some money to build like a concrete wall that we can put this mural on, or find out how it's attached. I think that's the first step, is if they're interested in allocating something towards it in the future, then we can find out what we need to do to start moving this along, to get them the information.
And it says right here, the best murals have one overall image, a tree, eagle, canoe, bridge, sailboat, that our teams paint hundreds of custom tiles that can represent your community. So they design each individual tile. My understanding is they designed each individual tile that creates this mural, like a mosaic,
Right.
and then once they're painted, they get put together.
It's a good idea to sell the tiles, because that can go for the scholarship fund that the town has, or for anything that we, that they deem that they want it to go to.
yeah, currently the town doesn't have a scholarship fund. I think that's run through LGLA at the moment, but no, those are all good things. What
Or we could just do it as an event.
can you think? Yeah,
Yeah.
can you think about a location? I've got one in mind, but
I mean, either somewhere up here or over at, the town owns very few, property.
yeah, so maybe what we would do is reach out to a private landowner.
Right here. But
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It would, even out here, we could put,
Pretty right here I don't know how far out the town owns the property here until.
How about central on off of Southern Boulevard? There's a very big building
Are you
Yeah.
talking about Southern Lawn?
Yeah.
That was, Francine recommended that, but I mean, I don't ever go there. I would never see it. I mean, I would like it displayed somewhere that's frequented by the majority of our
Well,
townspeople.
I think
you know?
I think the thought was that would.
I mean, if it's the whole side of the building and you're driving by, that's
Yes, you see
awesome.
it on
Yeah.
Southern.
If it's, I don't think it's gonna be that big. I don't think I mean,
Well, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe a 20 by 15 or something like that. I don't know what their dimensions are, but I mean, if you're talking about the whole side of a building, yeah, absolutely, but I don't,
Yeah, I mean,
that would be great.
I don't know, I don't know how feasible or not that would be, and there'd be a lot of steps.
I would go down
involved.
Southern just to see it.
Yeah.
I think
well,
it's it's a good idea. It's where do we want it to go to? And how much it's gonna, cost to go and do the prep work for it. I think, these are all things that we need to find out and, and move it forward. I mean, if we can find a place to put it, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to go ahead and, because it's gotta be attached to something. And, and then go from there.
I mean, their smallest is an 8 by 8.
What's their
So-
biggest?
It says up to 300 participants, so 300 tiles.
Okay,
So that's 150 by one, if they're 1 foot tile, that'd be
The
150 by
picture
100.
depicts it pretty large.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know the guy that owns the building and all that, for Southern Lawn. And, I've known him for many years, and if that's someplace where, I could approach him and say, hey, this is an idea that we have, would you be interested? And if he said no, then we know to move on. If he said, yeah, it'd be fun, well, maybe that might be one site.
And
Yeah.
maybe he'll help fund it. If it brings business,
yeah.
if that's where we decide we want it.
But yeah, I just, I know from, there is mention in the community and, that building's not as attractive as,
Should be.
it should be.
It was meant to be.
And so, yeah, the idea is to spruce it up.
I had that same thought every time I drive by there. I'm like, how did this pass, to get where it's at? Basically, it's a steel building that it doesn't even, it doesn't even look like a barn. It's just basically it's like a lean-to like this. That's it. I thought it would be more like pitched roofs and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I would just love to do mosaic wherever you decide, wherever the town council decides they want it. I'm
Yeah.
good with that. I thought it was a great idea, more so to bring the community together and have a community event to show the uniqueness of the town. And if we can make it a fundraiser, that's even better.
Yeah,
Or maybe somewhere by the school.
But if they're willing to donate their wall, they do have that
Okay.
looks like it's gonna be a lot of
well,
money.
and the thing is that, you can do a first project of wherever you put it at, doesn't mean that you stop right there. You can find another place to do it, and then say, all right, we're gonna do a second one.
Yeah.
And,
Bigger one.
before you know, you have 3 or 4 around town, and
Do you remember the one that used to be at Publix? The old Publix here in Rural Palm, it was.
Publix had them, yeah.
Big
Oh,
horse.
yeah.
For a
Yeah.
while,
Yeah.
Publix that was their thing on every one of the Publix, and then they did away with it. I miss them.
I asked Mary McNichols looked into this one, cause I said if we could if we could fix, salvage that one. Cause it was horses, it was on each side had horses and rolling hills and trees and stuff. That maybe we could have hung it here at the town hall or Tractor Supply or the Publix on Southern, but she said they did something with it. I don't know.
Yeah. So, potential locations is, Southern Lawn is a possibility, the school.
Somewhere
Uh,
by the school.
Yeah, or maybe even on the school. Once again, that's we could enter into an interlocal with them.
County.
So,
and I guess the third one would be right up here at Town Hall.
okay.
That might be.
But it all
But
depends on if the town council goes, hey, it's a good idea, or like, no.
Yeah,
I'd like them to say it's a good idea, then we can move it forward and get them all the information, and
In reading this literature that was printed up for us, it does say, wall size 8 by 8, 8 by 12, and 12 by 12. It looks like the largest might be 12 feet by 12 feet, which is. But the ones in the pictures look bigger than that, so I can I can reach out and find out more logistics of it all,
That would
prices
be
and
great.
sizes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Town hall from a visibility standpoint is, you'd have to know that it was here, I think. And unless when you're driving by, there's the entrance isn't, you kind of have to pull in and all those kind of things. So I'm not sure what the visibility would be, but obviously from the terms of it being here and people having access.
Could also make it freestanding,
Mhm.
build a
Right.
backboard for it and display it right on Southern. I mean, to me, that's semantics as to where we put it, but I guess we have to find out where we put it to find out what size we need.
Do you want to go ahead and present this to the town council and see where their idea is?
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I'll get the prices and
Yeah.
the sizes and then we'll take it from there. So I can present it the next meeting, or I can send an email, or,
I think that would get on their agenda and just have it to where, hey, this is what, I found this and everything, and, we as a board, I guess, we're good with it, right? Just as a consensus. And
Sure,
if
sure.
they say yes, move it along there and go, okay, now we can actually start doing something. If they say, no, we don't want to do it, then pretty much so you don't get,
that's right, I
Wrapped
don't
up
want to
in doing-
spin too much on my
right.
wheels until.
right.
Right.
Should we do that in the formal recommendation to the board? or-
Yeah, they can, pass a motion to have the vice chair present this concept to the council, and we'll get it agenda. I think we need some of those questions answered, or we need to flesh them out on pricing, where, how big, and those kind of things. I think those.
I can, yeah, do that. How formal do I need to be? Do I need to come to a meeting, or do I send it via email, or how?
I think the way to do it is to essentially supplement what we have here,
Mhm.
so that they have a writing in front of them. And then, and as far as the presentation, do it as a presentation, as an idea, and we'll figure out scheduling on
Okay.
that.
I'll just get prices and sizes and then I'll be in
Yeah,
We'll
contact.
coordinate
I don't-
I'll
we
be
don't
in
need to-
contact with-
We don't need to vote on, just a consensus of the board to see if the council is interested. If they say no, then,
Right.
then we
and
move on to something else.
They may direct it back to you or back
Right.
to another board
Oh, I'm sure they
to,
would.
to move forward with.
Sounds good.
So a consensus of the board to have the vice chair.
I think we should definitely look into it.
Yeah. I want to look into it, but I don't want to spend a lot of time, and then town council says, yeah, it's okay idea, but. We
Yeah.
want to do something else. Okay.
I want to just say that I feel like, based on the name of our committee, that we should try and do a lot more community involvement.
Agreed.
That was,
Well, yeah, and it's good exposure, and I think it is appropriate for you guys to weigh in on where it should be, so that it would have some impact.
And, and the problem I have from being here in the town, I was here ever since we incorporated. And a lot of good ideas, they come out of committees, and then they get to the town council and they just sit there and they look like a deer in the headlight. And they don't really want to push anything any further. And people put a lot of time and effort into getting
Right.
them all the information, and then they're going, yeah, we really don't like it. So I've learned that, present a basic concept to them, and if they say, yes, it sounds good, move forward with it, get us more information. And then that way that you're not,
right, exactly.
wasting your time.
And all I did was send it via email to everybody, and I said, was this something we could entertain? And next thing you know, it was on the agenda. So I guess we're in the right direction.
Well, our response, I think, was, hey, looks pretty cool.
And Francine's like, I'm putting it on the agenda. I'm like, all right. If stuff could be that easy all the time, we would all get along, but
Are we good with the discussion on the mosaic?
yes.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on that or comments? We'll move on to number 3 of the regular agenda. Discussion and review of the rural road improvement standards.
Well, as I said, this is really Richard's item, but my understanding of his question to you was gonna be, do you have more questions? Do you have issues that you want to discuss? He made a presentation at the last meeting. I know that you had had not a whole lot of time to review it. And are you prepared today to give out the questions? Since he's not here to give out answers at the moment.
And if I'm being frank, I haven't gotten with Anita to discuss any of this either. We've reached out, we played phone tag about it, but I would like to sit with my council person and go over it. So I'm not ready to make any comments on it.
Do we want to table this until the next meeting?
I think that's a good idea.
More time to digest. I know some people got the agendas early, some people did not get them until today or yesterday evening or something.
And if any of you would like to schedule a meeting to meet with Richard sometime soon regarding that item, feel free to contact me and I'll set that up for you.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we'll table this item. That sound good?
That's fine with me. yeah.
Okay. so
A second.
Table this item and we'll move on to regular agenda item number 4. Discussion and review of master roadway, equestrian trails and greenway plan. And if you can, maybe if do you want to take a break for a second or have somebody call Richard and say, hey, no reason for you to come. We tabled it because of,
I think he's already doing it.
Well, this is mostly his item too.
So, yeah,
okay.
number 4, I had some questions, but I didn't know who's submitting that or what the purpose is.
Where did that start?
Page 45.
Yep. Was this is this the trails that I had asked for a map of the trails? Is this what this is?
Yeah, this is the previous iteration
2009.
of the MREG, or the Master Roadway Equestrian and Greenway Plan. That was prepared by Calvin Giordano. And
Mr. Egg.
the thought was that for you to review it, and I know that you all didn't get you might not have gotten your agendas and with a lot of time to review it. But this is a starting point for you to evaluate where we are on the plan, and whether or not we want to make some modifications to it.
Well, considering this came out in March 2009, all the roads have been paved since then.
Right.
Well, so
For the
I
most
guess
part.
a couple questions. Are we thinking of doing another, plan similar to this to update this?
I think,
Because that's what
I think there has to be an update on the plan, and so this was to initiate the discussion, so you can see where folks had left it in 2009, and then we'll move forward together to develop a new plan that addresses the current situations.
Can you answer what exact trails do we have that are bona fide horse trails as of to date, other than F Road that I'm aware of, the ones behind Aldi's and then North Road?
and we also have from the end of 6th Court North to C Road South, and from C Road
I don't
South
know where
goes
that
back
is.
into Aldi's.
Yeah, all right.
Oh,
All these trails is really the solar sports of the town center trail. That is available, that's open to the public. There is the connection to C Road, and that bridge there. You have a very the reality of the C Road going along the canal side, the western canal side on C Road. My understanding is it's really pretty narrow there. And a lot of that area is not a truly dedicated trail, because the right of way at that area that we actually have doesn't go much beyond the canal bank. So when you're riding along Sea Road, my understanding is that you are primarily riding on people's properties where we do not have a dedicated easement. But they are, they're not putting up fences and blocking it off. F Road, the F Road Canal, that is my understanding of the best, most complete trail area that we do have. The concept of the trail system was that it was going to be on the west side of all of the canals, the A road canals, the alphabet canals. But we have not acquired easements on the majority of those areas. And so your actual dedicated trail, if you will, is limited in various spots. I'm not sure the exact dimensions. That's a question for Richard to see what we really have in terms of right of way, because when the canals and roads were laid in, they are not uniformly set. But that's my understanding of the concept. There is a trail on the north side of North Road, or at the North Canal.
Mhm.
And that's
So,
my understanding of where we specifically have areas where we can say those are available to us right now. Now, there's a lot of other areas where you're riding on, people's yards, and it's permissive. The other area that we're developing is Gruber is in process, or going to be in process in the next couple of weeks of completing the trail. That paving has been completed, and now they're going to put a trail along Gruber, and that should be done within the next couple of months.
on Gruber, where does it go to? Like, does it connect to anything, or is it just a trail on the side of?
It's
The
the
paved
trail on
road.
the side of Gruber.
And the reason I'm proposing this question is we're looking for connectivity.
Right.
Because there's no point in having a trail if you can't get to the trail, safely. So, and I'm looking at page, I don't know, it's item 4. It looks like B Road a designated trail? Because it says primary north-south trail system, and it's in conjunction with F of the Red Road as well as Okeechobee and Southern, but,
Page is that?
it's not a page.
Oh, it's, item 4, very end. 3 pages in from the very end.
Figure 15.
Figure 15, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this.
Yeah, I'm there. So, your question,
So it just says primary north-south trail system. Is this existing? Or is this proposed? Is this?
it was proposed at the time.
Since F is already,
2009.
I'm thinking about B Road, and I don't know that it is. You all
Can I-
would be better apprised as to whether or not it is a
Can I ask-
rideable area there.
Can I ask a quick question? You're clearing out an easement right now from F Road, west over to I forget the road that's going to, but it's just right up the street here. It's on the other side of Collecting Canal. I know you dug out the one pond that was over
The
there.
Hyde Park? is what
Hyde
you're
Park,
talking
yeah.
about?
and there's an easement that is this a drainage easement, is that also under plans to be a, a horse way or something like that to where you can move people from there there's our barns over there and move them right over to the F Road, riding trail.
Okay.
I mean, if you're clearing it out now and you're gonna put a fence there, which I don't know if they're gonna do or not, but it seems like that's a way to start connecting stuff. And if we take baby steps and start connecting these things along, eventually we'll end up having, something connected throughout the town.
Here's what I can tell you about that. That observation has been made by staff. We are communicating with the property owners to see if they will expand the usage of their property for that purpose. If we are successful in those discussions, we will bring forward easements to the council for approval. But those are, at this point in time, the same thoughts. The discussions have begun, but we do not have commitments at this point in time. But that's the observation of staff, that whenever we can see those kind of connections, we should try to make them. And F Road is because it does have the trail defined. It's a good point to start with.
And my thing is, we're spending taxpayer money to clear out that right of way, so we should be able to go ahead and put a, connecting trail on that. This
Just
is
for
a,
clarification, is that the one that's connecting, that somebody's clearing out a whole line
Right.
from the F Road trail right by Marcella?
Yeah.
Basically, all the way down.
all the way to Hyde Park, and that's actually a drainage easement right in there.
It's a drainage easement to get the drainage functioning
Mhm.
again. There is a drainage easement on in people's historical titles. And that easement has not been dedicated to the public or to the town at this point in time. But in order to manage the drainage on Hyde Park, we need to have that connection. So we have gotten permission for those folks to move forward and are discussing with them an easement that would be dedicated to the town or the district. And for drainage purposes, and along with that, the idea of a horse trail.
Right, a
And-
small sliver, I mean, a couple feet for the horses, and then you have the drainage, so. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can tell us, and that's a good point you bring up. You might not be prepared today, obviously, but, next meeting, maybe you can tell us as to who has approved of the horse easement, as a trail easement, and who hasn't, or how many are left, possibly to approve, because that would be a wonderful connectivity trail right there.
Yeah.
Especially if they're having the benefit of a drainage easement that's right behind their properties, right? So they're not flooding.
I would propose that we get a map, something simple, like, and like this map right here. It shows North Road is in red highlighted dotted lines, whatever. I'm assuming that's the trail on the north and North Road.
Mhm.
If we get a whole town map of just lines of where their trails are, so we can try and figure out as riders where we can try and connect to.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We can show you. We
'Cause
need
I
to-
don't know all the roads, so
Right.
like I had to look on my
Right.
handheld, like, where are you talking about? Oh, that's
Mhm.
awesome,
We need to differentiate between trails that were planned and trails that
potential.
are reality. And then there is those areas where the trail may seemingly exist, but it's not really based on a dedicated easement. Is that people have not blocked their backyards.
Is it okay? Could we get a map for maybe our next meeting or email them to us if they're prepared? I mean,
I
not-
will discuss it with Richard. I think that is possible, but I don't want to commit, because I don't, I,
Well, it's
not-
just, I need a visual, like I said, I
it's
don't know
not me
the
that
roads.
prepares that, but yes, I think that's reasonable for us to discuss, and we'll attempt to give you something that brings clarity there.
And so then consistent with the, provide input on the updating of the MERG, that would be one update that we would, ask for in the updated MERG to provide, the existing and proposed trails and the, I guess the next steps regarding getting the, landowner approval or easements or whatever that process is.
And also with this, the MERG, I mean, it's almost 15 years old. There's been a couple changes
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
all
right.
that. So I mean, basically, we're looking at something that's basically 15 years old. And, more roads have been paved, drainage projects have been undertaken and all that since that was prepared. So I don't know how much that changes the dynamic of that old document.
Well, yeah, and as we've discussed, it was never fully implemented.
That's why we're here.
Mhm.
So, a quick question though, getting back to the Hyde Park Road easement there and all that. So either the town or the district taxpayer money is being used to clear that out so that it provides better drainage for the people on Hyde Park Road and
And the roadway itself.
the roadway itself. But yet we don't have, that's not a dedicated easement.
It is a dedicated drainage easement, but
Okay,
it has not been, it was never dedicated to the district or the town, but we have talked to those folks, and they're permitting the completion of the work on their property. And we're working towards formal easements to be granted there.
so, but my thing is that if you don't have the easements, then how can you spend the money on
Because-
private property?
Because
I'd love for you to get the easement because that solves a lot of problems for everybody.
yeah, but the rationale, just so you understand, is that there is a public benefit to that project, because without that drainage outflow that was always supposed to be there, you can't drain the pond, and you can't take care of the roadway drainage. And those are things that we are maintaining right now, and have taken over by virtue of the length of maintenance that we have on that road. So it's a supplement to that, and that's the only way we can make that drainage work.
I have a dumb question. This was prepared March 2009, and looks like substantial research and engineering was done on this. What happened? Because it gives you suggestions of how to connect. I'm reading about Southern Road Boulevard, I'm reading about Tangerine, like all these were on the building blocks for connectivity for trails, but here we are, like you said, many, many years later, and this has all been paved over and combed over. So why was this MERG never implemented, accepted, made part of the charter, or like what happened to it? The money was spent to do this. I
right,
mean,
no, I'm
this didn't
not
come cheap,
here.
and
I'm not fully versed on all the machinations as to why it was never implemented. The reason most plans are not implemented, and a good bit of this wasn't implemented, is you do not have funding provided by the governing body to implement things. You may not have, you primarily don't have a will at that particular time to move forward. So this plan, for the most part, has been on the shelf. Now, there have been things, as we've discussed, there have been things that have been implemented about it. But I can tell you that the trail money that was budgeted for the last couple of years has been on the order of $20,000, and it's been carry forward money. So there have been other priorities that are, that have been determined, by the council. And so we, as every government entity does and everybody does, we have fiscal limitations. So
But was
That-
that money not earmarked and created or raised or funded for said trails? Was it
No.
allocated for something else?
no, that's what you have here is, you had a plan, and it was never fully funded. And I'm not even sure now whether or not there is, a budget that has been developed associated with it. What I'm telling you is in the last 3 years, where I have been involved and seen the budget, I believe it was about $20,000 that was allocated towards, trails. And that has not been $20,000 a year. That was $20,000, and then it was carried forward because there wasn't, a plan to utilize those monies. So there's another, so it's not a $20,000 per year. It's been $20,000 this year. My belief is that most of the monies associated with that are going to be spent on, signage related to the trails. That's my recollection. Once again, Richard would be better able to specifically, recall that, but that's my current recollection of what most of that money is. And you can imagine that $20,000 doesn't go a long way in establishing trails.
I
Not
can,
when signs cost.
I can
Huh?
tell, I can tell you.
Signs
Not when
cost-
the signs cost. I mean, even the signs they were talking about putting down Okeechobee, it was a ridiculous amount of money.
They cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I can tell you why this hasn't been implemented. I've been here since 1994. So, there were a lot of good intentions behind this because I was part of this when they first came out with it with the town. But the problem that they had was that they had, no money. That was the big thing. The second thing they had was they could not get the, permission to build these trails on the easements because the people were saying, well, you can have the easements and clear them out, but we don't want any horses on them or any ATVs or whatever, because people on horseback can see what we have and they'll try to steal from us.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, and so pretty much the councils over the years have dropped it and they haven't pretty much, they really haven't cared about it.
Well, are
Because
we-
a lot of the people that sit up here, they don't have horses, they don't, they don't do this stuff, they don't ride bikes, they don't, they don't do this stuff, they're too busy doing other stuff. So, they really did, it was a group of things that couldn't come together. And the big thing is that for years, we didn't have access to the easements. And once we got access to some of the easements, F-road was a big thing. F-road, to give you an idea, because I was on the Water Control District Board when we created that trail. That took us 7 years to create that trail from Collecting Canal to Okeechobee, 7 years. And we had already cleared it out. It was 7 years of fighting with homeowners about, well, that's great, but and they would start blocking off with fences and stuff like that. And it got to the point where we went in there and we started pulling, gates out and fencing and all that, and we were able to get it opened up. But we had to get an act from the state legislature, if you can believe this, and it cost us almost $100,000 to do it, just to open up that trail. And then we had to spend the money to fence it and to sign it and all that, which was the cheap end of it. But between the attorneys, lobbyists and all that, that's how long it took. And that was just for one little test trail. And people liked it. And, and in the long run, nobody's crime went up because of it. Yeah, sometimes people do ride their mules on it and their 4-wheel mules and their ATVs and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, crime hasn't gone up from it. And all of their fears were really unimagined.
Right, well, let's remember, we're a rural community, that's what we do, and it would be nice to do the same thing if it takes 7 years and $100,000 with that other trail to allow some more trail systems, at least that are already connected. So, you know,
And the thought was is that, okay, this is the template, so now we know how to do this. We don't need to go and spend all that kind of money and all that, and we showed that all their fears were unwarranted. And then the town pretty much had just got started, and then they're going, yeah, it sounds like a really good idea. And then it dropped it because there were other, fires to put out.
I do think, and it's based on comments that have been made by the current council, that there is much more interest and desire to move forward with improving the trails. Funding is always going to be an issue. There are grants that are being sought.
You know, and the thing is that, and I had brought this up to previous councils, is that you don't want to be behind the 8 ball and all of a sudden have to shoot from the hip to try to make these trails because, 3 or 4 kids on horseback got mowed down by a semi and they were all killed, the horses were killed and all that, and it made national news. And then you're going, all right, we need to do the trails, but everyone's busy pointing fingers. Let's do it now and avoid that, because it will eventually happen. If we do nothing, it will eventually happen. And that's the worst fear that I have.
I just feel like we've been spinning our wheels for 14 years and we haven't really gotten
We haven't
what's
even,
on paper.
we haven't even spun the wheels. Now they spun because it ran out of gas. And, that's why when I had got on this committee and I agreed to, that my councilman, Robert Schwartz, I told him, said, if we can't make a difference in 6 months, I'm leaving, because I'm not gonna spend 2 years like I did on the last committee. And we did all these great things and put hours and days, weeks and months into it. And then pretty much I said, yeah, we don't really care about that. So, we have a good group of people up here and we have a good group of people, on the town staff end of it. But, it all relies on the town council to go and say, yes, let's move it forward. If they say no, then
Why are we here?
why are we here? There you go.
so on this item, this merge, what is needed from us? Just
This is
discussion?
all this was meant to do today was to be an introduction to where we're at. And as I said, unfortunately, Richard is not here for the detail that you would like. But
Well-
the direction that you've given us is come back with a more detailed review of what we have that's existing versus proposed, the condition of the existing trails, what's needed to improve those trails, and talk about connectivity.
Please, yeah, I mean, simplify it, because to me, looking at this, it's like, wow, this is all the stuff we could have had, but this is paved, that's paved, this doesn't work, that is gone.
Specifically, I don't know what the name of that clear out is. I know where it is.
Yeah.
Specifically, whatever that is, how do we get the landowners or some type of easement for horses to ride or people to walk?
We have to ask them
But, okay,
for that. 'Cause
so
that would
just,
be an expansion
I
of
guess
the
the
use of the
status
easement.
of that meeting too.
We'll
Okay,
report back.
yeah, and there's really not much we can do until Richard comes here, because he's our question and answer
Mr.
guy.
Childs, can you speak into your mic? I
Oh, sorry.
want to make sure. it
Yeah,
picks
we
you up.
can't really come here, because Richard isn't here, a lot of this stuff can't be answered. And I think taking this stuff home and reading it a little bit more and then, coming back at the next meeting. Because right now it's, without him here, there's really not much that can happen.
Second that motion.
I think if you want to adjourn, I
Well,
think it's
we're
appropriate.
just gonna, yeah, I guess we'll table it to the next meeting, if that's good with the rest of the board.
We'll reschedule the next meeting maybe sooner than later.
Yeah.
And if we can get that map prior to the next meeting, that would be great. That way we can look at it, to discuss it with our council person and come up with some ideas for our next RACAG meeting.
I will check on that. There will be additional members, potentially different members.
Just one, right?
Because
Oh.
the
May, right?
council is meeting on March 18th after the election. and they will begin the reappointment process with respect to committees.
Committees.
So if you are interested in continuing to serve, you should reach out to the person who appointed you, or
The person who gets elected, because my council person,
there are four there are four council seats that have been determined. There is one left. So yeah, talk to the council members. I think you're a great group to
and
work with.
it's my council member seat that is yet to be determined.
Yeah.
Which is okay either way for me. I'm
He's running, right? Hoffman, so is that why he's no longer on the,
if that council person.
seat two was Mr. Hoffman, wasn't it?
Seat 2 was Miss Laudadio, I believe. that it
Yes.
was.
And then there was a proposal, Mr. Hoffman was never appointed to this.
Oh, because
committee.
that was on the flyer that we got about his position, said he was on the Rec Ag committee, so
No,
that's why I assumed that was, okay.
The process for appointment is that you are appointed by your council members, subject to ratification essentially by the council as its entirety. I think there was a proposal to have Mr. Hoffman on this committee to replace Ms. Dadio, was it? And Laudadio. And that appointment did not get to an agenda. So it was never considered by the entire council. It's a matter of, you have to make your appointments, you have to get lined up and everything. And the timing of the resignation, the timing of the appointment and all those kind of things, we only meet monthly. And
Was
so
she
it-
Danowski's? Was she Laura's?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't
So
remember
we-
the exact timing on it, but we didn't, it wasn't put on the agenda because I think there were some timing issues with respect to it.
So do we need to try and find another person to fill that seat?
No,
We as a town,
I know
not we
Miss-
as,
the
Miss
town, the
Rainey is in
town
the-
councilman.
I know Miss Rainey is in the process of looking for
Okay.
members to serve on her various committees, of which she'll be appointing
okay.
to, so.
So we'll move on to committee members. I'll start on my right. Do you have anything you wanted to add, or?
I would like to, if I'm reappointed, I would like to put something on for the next agenda. Just a discussion regarding possibly utilizing the Loxahatchee Groves Park, that portion of it that's unused, more for equestrian type activities. More specifically, the baseball area. I don't know the usage. I don't know how often that's used. I would like to discuss during one of our next meetings, perhaps allowing horses to be in that area. So that would be my only comment.
I think there has been some outreach to the county, so we'll update you on that.
Thank you.
Does that complete your comments?
I would like to talk about it at the next meeting so that I can understand the process that's involved to get that approval. And, any, I guess, concerns, if we put natural jumps or obstacles there. Just the process. So I would like to hear, I guess, a little bit more. I don't know if it's my job to do that research or the town can possibly inform.
As I said, my understanding is there's made some contact with the county. It is their park. We will discuss, with them whether or not they are amenable to it, and if they are amenable to it, whether or not they would want to enter into an interlocal agreement where we would have to provide some of the facilities, or whether or not they, as the county, since you're all county residents, and they've already got a horse trail there. That's the other place that there is a horse trail right
Yep.
there.
Yes.
I'm not sure we mentioned that.
Yeah, there is.
We
through the
did not
park.
actually.
Yeah, but there is one there. Whether or not they would say, okay, let's start spending some money, or at least allow it to occur.
Or will allow it, right? And what would be needed to persuade the county? So I just kind of want to understand that, maybe. the
We'll,
next
we'll
meeting.
first contact staff and see what their take on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, if the county says we're not interested, I mean, it pretty much it dies right there.
No, I mean, then you try to influence the.
Well, then you go
county.
to the county commission and
Mhm.
Along the lines with what Ms. Bruce just proposed, the Royal Palm natural area, there's only the west half that we can utilize the trails. Is there any way to get permission to extend the horse trails to the east side? I think Royal Palm owns that.
The answer to both of those, I think, is yes.
So yes, we can extend
Oh,
it.
no.
We
ye-
can
Yes.
look into
We
extending.
can look into extending it. Yes, Rod, obviously, is the control.
Okay, because I know the county is the west part where we're allowed to ride the horses, which is
Yeah.
And then the other side is Royal Palm. So if,
Yeah, but-
back to that interlocal agreement with, if we can,
What I can't answer for you is whether or not there are design or logistical issues with that would prevent.
I know they're
potential-
saying sensitive areas, but they drive cars, trucks through there, so it
Does
can't be
not.
any more sensitive than,
So we need to understand more about that and how do we widen the access
Right.
in
Yeah.
that area?
so if we could do
We
that
will-
for us.
We will look into that.
That will be another, I guess, agenda item for.
And then I have a
hopefully our
big
next
one,
meeting.
which I don't know it's feasible, but the water drainage for the hospital next to Vince Ramos. It's a big lake that's fenced off and it's just a empty drainage with a foliage and trees, and I think there's a big pond there.
that belongs to the hospital.
It belongs to the hospital.
Right.
I was wondering if there's a way we could look into maybe annexing that into the town to make it a park. Multi-use park fishing, it's
Maybe
just,
a trail around the outside of
Yeah,
the lake,
it's
possibly?
just, I mean, I have
It-
been on the property on my horse once because there was a opening in the fence and curious little girl wanted to go and see what was there. So it would be an amazing trails, hiking, biking, horsing, walking. It's beautiful. And it's just property that's just sitting there and it's actually a drainage ditch for when the hospital was built.
Yeah, and that would be nice, but in order to get that into the town, the hospital itself would have to come in. And there's been, and there's been a lot of resistance over the years with that from the hospital. Now the HCA owns it. They may be more amenable to talk about that, but I know that they enjoy having their taxes the way they are because they're actually in a county sliver right there on a carpeted area.
Or, lease it to us for $1 a year, something and make us,
Approach.
Yeah.
That property.
yes, sir. Because I'm sure Vince Ramos could benefit from it with their writing program as well. It's a thought and it's a piece of property just sitting there
Is
waiting.
there access, can we publicly access that or would there have to
Not
be an
right now,
easement?
but we could.
You could go through the parking lot at the hospital
We
and
could.
then we could go through collecting, well, not
Collect
collecting,
canal.
no, what's the other side of that?
Six,
6 Court North.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a way to access it from Sixth Court
Yes.
North,
Yeah.
okay?
Any more comments? from
I'm
you?
good.
I just got,
Yeah, we can look in.
A lot of homework for you.
I'm telling you, like, they're gonna be like, oh my God, that committee.
We'll have to have another meeting before we're,
I just have,
What I can't guarantee is whether or not we're going to be prepared to move forward
Yeah.
with all of these items by the
I-
next meeting.
Rome wasn't
Because
built in a day,
un-
but at least we have answers.
We have,
When in Rome.
we have a number of other responsibilities and, as much
we're
as this
getting
is fun,
started on
but
the 7-year.
I don't want to overcommit, but I think these are all good ideas for future agendas to at least explore.
I mean, I'm willing to reach out myself. I just don't know who to reach out to and when, and I don't know if it's the legality thing that a resident, you know what
No,
I'm
we-
saying? Like,
We can do that.
we dismissed you.
We were just about to wrap up, I think.
yeah, I'm just getting ready to do my comments and then we're gonna just do it, confirm the next meeting and we pretty much put everything off till the next meeting then, because we figured you were just, in a parking lot somewhere far, far away in a distant land and future. like at PJ Boulevard, at that point, my GPS, I had 4 hour.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
like, that's every day on the turnpike, FYI.
That's awful.
But, yeah, I have 2 comments. One, uh, I know people are sending, you sent me the mosaic, or you sent,
I sent it to the trails.
yeah, but in the future, because if it's something we're gonna discuss at a meeting, there might be some ethical things and all, so I'm gonna just recommend that if you have anything to send, you want the rest of the committee, send it to Francine first.
Mhm.
I sent it to the email that says roadways, trails and equestrian, so everybody got it at the same time.
Well, Francine
wasn't-
isn't, I think what Mr. Shail was trying to say that he doesn't want to run the risk of committing a sunshine law violation by any of you guys just responding, or if you intentionally respond to Francine or a staff
Right.
member. But moving forward, and I know you have previously, if you'd like to just send it to our individual emails, like Francine's individual email, as well as mine or Jeff's or Richard's, that's fine. You don't have to use the I think it's called rec
But, yeah,
gag,
that's the one I just,
that email, because that includes all of the board members, so just,
so do I just send it to one person?
that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and then let's,
Send it to a non-committee member.
right,
The reason for that, as I think has been discussed, is if they respond
Correct.
and you start a discussion on the issue, even if they just say, that looks great.
Right,
Right.
it's a comment. I get it.
Technically,
Okay, sorry about
that's
that.
outside.
no,
of
that's
the-
okay, it's, I mean, it's a learning experience, and I just don't want anybody to get in trouble
Mhm.
by doing something that they thought that it was okay to do.
Which is, and also a totally rational and understandable
Right.
thing.
And that email was just for distribution purposes, so I
Yeah.
can send it out to all of you instead of every single time, remembering who our committee
Probably, yeah,
members are.
probably sent to all, but okay, I'm sorry about that.
And the second thing is that I had a request, and take it or leave it, it doesn't matter to me either way, but the landowners meeting is actually on tonight, because there's a few people that go to the landowners meeting that can't come to here, and they want to know if we can move it to another Thursday. And I said I would bring it up at the meeting, and if the board wanted to, it's great. If they didn't want to, that's fine too.
Oh, instead of the last Thursday of the month?
I'm gonna
Do the
leave.
third Thursday, pretty much the 13th, 20th, or 27th. And I'll just go right in our next and confirm the next meeting date on the agenda.
I will not be here the 27th, so that's fine.
So if you don't want to do the last
20th?
Thursday, then it's 20th. That way it doesn't conflict with the LGLA.
Ashley, are you on that?
Are we talking about,
20th.
yes, I can do that.
Yeah, 20th.
We're moving it to the third Thursday of the month.
Sounds good.
And we do want to do 5 o'clock? We want to keep it at 5 o'clock?
Yeah, I think 5 o'clock is great, because we can, if everyone's good with that. And, I think 6 o'clock, and then everyone's getting out of here sometimes 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I think earlier is better. Plus, you're getting just off of work, and you can come from Public Works right over to here. You don't have that hour lag time. Right.
And I believe committee member Lakeman at the last meeting asked for us to move the meeting times up to 5 o'clock. Are you guys is this
Yeah,
okay for
We're
everyone
keeping
still?
it 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So our next meeting will be every third Thursday, which the next one being Monday, the 20th.
March.
Thursday the
Excuse me,
20th,
March
20th.
Yeah, sorry.
At 5 o'clock. Okay,
Do you want a
Good.
summary of what was discussed, or do you? Okay.
I don't.
I had asked for a map. Yeah. Any comments on that?
Would you like me to relay that information to him? What we discussed at the very end, the recommendations by the committee members?
Sure.
Okay. Would you like me to just add to you in an email, Richard?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also the next agenda items too, and
Yes,
next
that
reporting
was-
to the town report.
Understood.
The only comment I have is just.
I haven't had a chance to get with Anita, and I don't know if they've had, we weren't ready as a committee to discuss it. But we did ask for an existing trails map,
Right.
simplified, this, yes, this, no. So we're trying to figure out connectivity. And my thinking is, I'm trying to think of outside the box of how we don't have direct access, how we can find safe connectivity.
Okay, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
Okay, so moved. Adjourn. Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
thank you.